Dirk! Middle of nowhere. Maybe some of that castle knows. Hey, Dirk! Well, this is not my place to be. Whoa!
Game on.
Hey there, game gurus. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about, well, let's go back to, I guess, 1982, when video games and arcades were all the rage. Now, you used to go down to the arcades with your friends, maybe play a game of Donkey Kong in 1982 with your friends. You know, you're standing in front of the machine, but your friends are on the sides of you watching you play. But that's about it. Maybe 2 or 3 people can watch you play Donkey Kong or a Popeye or a Donkey Kong Jr. back in the day. Now, also in 1982 was the release of a Dragons Lair. And to be quite honest, it's not much of a game in itself. It's really just selecting moves for the character. But again, back in 1982, when looking at games like Donkey Kong and Popeye and Donkey Kong Jr., which were great games in their day, but looking at something that's cartoon graphics in a game was just unbelievable. The sound quality, the visuals was amazing. And people would crowd around that machine like crazy. And again, you couldn't fit so many people behind you. People are standing up on other people's shoulders to try and see what's going on. So the arcades realized that, and they eventually released what was called the Spectator screen, which sat on top of the Dragons Lair cabinet, or the Space Invader cabinet. Now, this is obviously a new Wave Toys Dragons Lair, and they did a beautiful job with their machine. The initial release that they had done didn't have HDMI out. It was just basically the Dragons Lair, you have the screen there, and that was it. So back in, I think it was 2023, New Wave Toys announced they were going to bring back a new version of Dragons Lair and Space Ace that actually had HDMI out, and they were going to release a small Spectator screen for it. And I was all on board. I mean, I remember going into the Baldwin Mall in Mount Kisco, New York, when I was, I guess I was 13, 14 years old, and seeing a Dragons Lair and people all crowded around it, but they had the Spectator screen on top. And I was like, oh my God, I can see what the kids doing up there instead of having to try and work my way around seeing what's going on the screen. And when New Wave Toys announced that back in 2023, I'm like, I'm all in on that. And then 2023 came and went, and then 2024 came and went, and unfortunately New Wave Toys has not yet released that Spectator screen for their second generation Dragons Lair and Space Ace with HDMI out to support that screen. Now, when that much time goes by, people are going to innovate, or people are going to try and make their own, and well, someone did just that for not only the Dragons Lair, but I think I could already see a lot of different possibilities for other things for using a small screen. So here comes Mike and Erin. Now, Mike and Erin are starting a small little company making some small Spectator screens for, they had Dungeons and Dragons. That's what they named it. They didn't call it Dragons Lair. I actually have a letter from them right here. And basically it's a 3.5-inch HDMI TV for Dungeons and Dragons and more. I think they meant to say Dragons Lair. But Mike and Erin are starting their own business. And basically it's a 3D printed TV set, a 3.5-inch screen, 320 by 240 pixel display to resemble the Sony PVM, which is what Cinematronics had used. And for the price, they include the screen, which is the LCD screen, a 3D printed shell for it, a small HDMI cable, a USB-C cable, to connect up to different machines. So without any further ado, let me show you what they made. So this is it right here. It is a small recreation of that Sony screen. Now this again does have a 3.5-inch LCD in here, and the shell itself is 3D printed. And it's okay. Certain angles, like the sides, it looks fine. When you get to the back, you can tell it wasn't a very high quality print. But again, I still think it's pretty amazing what they did right here. And you can see on the back we have our mini HDMI, and this is a micro USB on here. But it does look like a small little monitor. And I've actually already, I was going to do an unboxing of this, but I couldn't wait. And so I already tried it on my Viper and on the machine here, which I'll show you guys in a second. And I think they did a real nice job, including, even on the bottom, they put some really small, if you can see that in the camera, really small rubber feet. So they did, I think, a pretty nice job of making a smaller monitor. Again, only thing I would critique is hopefully they could do with better 3D prints. I know they get the new with this, and it's still awesome. But I would like to see a better 3D print, because I know that 3D printers could do even better. But I'm critiquing. That's the only critique I would have for this, is just the backside, which I'm not going to see much anyway. So for $85 plus shipping, you will get this little Sony 3D printed 3.5 inch screen. They also include a small HDMI cable to connect. It's a mini to full-size HDMI to go to the back of the Dragon's Lair, and the power cable. So those are all the things you're going to get for $85. Now, I've already got a HDMI cable and a power back on here. So what I'm going to power up. I don't know if you can connect it while it's on, so I'm going to play it safe with my new Wave Toys. And I'm going to shut this thing off, let it power down. Only takes a second. And then I'm going to connect, and that's all I'm going to do, just literally connect power and the HDMI cable to this. So it looks like it did shut off. So I'm going to go back here, place this just on top. I think that looks pretty cool. And we're going to connect our HDMI cable and our power cable. I'm going to make it nice and centered on there, just like we did back in the day. And it will automatically power on when your machine's turned on. So I'm going to power on my machine. We'll give it a second to turn on. You can see it's using the whole screen, which is kind of nice. And there it is. Let me turn that volume down just a little bit. So the one thing I did notice is it is full screen on the lower screen. The top one is missing a little bit on the borders, but it wasn't like that when it showed new Wave Toys coming on. So it must be outputting the video on the secondary channel a little bit off. But you can see behind here, I'm running Dragon's Lair on a CRT off of my GRS Viper. So we're going to connect this to the Viper and see if that does the same thing on there. Maybe that's something they can fix in a firmware update. But I'm really surprised New Wave Toys has not released this little screen. I think that thing looks fantastic. And actually all different kinds of uses already for the screen. Now the only really downside to it is that there's no speaker built in. So there's no sound in here. So if you're using it for other projects, you'd have to use an HDMI device that can pull out the audio to external speakers. But other than that, I think for $85 you get the screen, you get the 3D printed shell, which could be the one part of improvement, the cable and power cord, and you have the Spectator version of Dragon's Lair or Space Ace. I myself could be ordering probably a couple more of these. I already have some ideas for them. But let me disconnect from here, and I'm going to connect it to my Viper board to see if the same screen borders get cut off on it, because that would mean maybe it's something to do with the screen itself versus what's being output to it. So we disconnect this. I'm going to unplug it here. Hopefully it doesn't blow anything up. Okay, we're unplugged from there. Unplug my Viper. Plug this into my Viper. And it is outputting the entire screen. So it means that the Dragon's Lair cabinet, when it outputs the external HDMI, is truncating the video a little bit on the sides. So hopefully that's something Shiloh can fix in a firmware. But again, this particular screen is not an official one from New Wave Toys. It's made by a third party, so it could be that as well. So until New Wave Toys actually releases theirs, if they do, we won't know if that's something they can fix or it's not even a problem with the screen that they were going to use. But let me get this back on the new Wave Toys machine. And it's back on. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, I kind of said before, aside from the 3D print, which is not horrible, please understand it's not horrible. It's on the back side, you can't really see it too much, but I would like to see the 3D print improved a little bit, because I know 3D printers today could do a lot better job, but I have no idea what 3D printer he has or how he's getting them printed, but it still looks like a Sony screen back in the day. And of course, you get the spectator mode on the Dragons Lair or your Space Station or other projects you have. Hell, maybe you can use it on the Build-A-Cade. Now, with that being said, right now in the Build-A-Cade, you can't display the internal and external screen, but that may change in the future. But for now, if you do have a new Wave Toys cabinet, like Space Ace or Dragons Lair, or another project, you want a small little screen that looks like a TV set, I've been waiting for something like that for a long time. So again, hopefully New Wave Toys will bring up theirs at some point. I'll buy theirs too. But for now, you can get this right now. I'll put a link down below to an email address where you can reach out to him. Right now, this is basically handmade small batches. So reach out to him, and as he makes his batches, he'll reach out to you and offer, I guess, a sale to you. Again, I paid $85 for this plus shipping for the screen, HDMI cable, and the power cord. But man, that really looks nice. Whether you're using it on a small project like this, or if you have, arcades, and we'll put some small TVs up in there to your little design that you do, whatever. I still think that looks awesome. And I really thank him for making this and sending me one out here to do this review for. I like it. But that's it for today's video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. It just takes 1 second for you, but it means really a lot to me in the YouTube algorithms. And if you're not currently subscribed, please do so. I do lots of videos like this, showcasing other people's products or my own. And that's really it. I'm hoping to hit 13,000 subscribers before I'm dead. But in the meantime, seriously, this is all fun and games. It is fun. I enjoy collecting stuff, playing and tinkering. But it never takes precedence over family and friends. Please make sure to tell family and friends you love them. Tomorrow's never promised. But in between those times, hell yeah, get a spectator screen. And you too can game on and show your friends as you're playing.
Are you looking for that arcade experience at home? If you don't have the space for a full-size arcade in your house or endless funds, then you need the GRS Build-A-Cade. It's arcade quality without the arcade price, from someone you can trust. The GRS Build-A-Cade is a very simple, easy to assemble, 1/6 scale arcade computer you can build yourself. You can buy interchangeable controllers for every gaming option you need to play the games the way they're meant to be played. You can also design your own artwork or purchase artwork separately to make your GRS Build-A-Cade look like the machine of your dreams. The GRS Build-A-Cade is also the only home system STEM certified. Come see what all the YouTube creators are raving about. GRS Build-A-Cade.
Game on.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.